All right. There we go. People are slowly joining. It's fantastic. Right, let me admit everyone. Perfect. Beautiful. All right, you guys. I am gonna actually stop share for a second and make sure I admit everyone. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Introduce yourselves in the chat box, and I'd also love it if you guys could have your cameras on so that I can see you guys and see your faces, because I love engaging and I love interacting with people on these sessions. It's fantastic. Here we go. I'm just going to do a gallery view so everybody can see everybody. Whoa, we've got 16 people on here, guys. Use the chat box, please, just to introduce yourselves. Say hi. What's your name? What's your market? Where do you trade? This is Karen. Okay, I live in Oakville, but I am currently in the UK. So I'd love for you guys to use the chat box and introduce yourselves. We'll use a few minutes to do that. Hey, Alejandro. Hi, Petty. It's lovely. What about the rest of you guys? You can even unmute yourselves and introduce yourselves and say hi while we're waiting for everyone. I am going to give it another 2 minutes before I get started. So if you guys would like, we can absolutely have you guys be on audio. All right. Hey, Ken. All right. The rest of you don't want to talk to me. What's going on here? I'm just going to start calling you guys out. Hey, Ken. Yeah, if you don't. Yeah. Okay, Sam, I see you're driving, so I'm not going to pester you, but hey, you are. Hi, Elizabeth. All right. Perfect. All right, so we have 20 people in the room, and I am going to give it another maybe 60 seconds or so to let people into our session today. I am super excited to be hosting this session. This is going to be fantastic. I'm really, really glad you guys can make it here today and be a part of our training session today. I am going to be speaking about organic lead generation. So I have lots and lots of really, really good stuff for you guys here. And I'm really excited to share all the strategies with you guys today, and all the good stuff so that you guys can go ahead and generate leads, because hey, who doesn't want leads, right? Who doesn't want leads? Everybody wants leads. If you want leads, let me know. Actually, do you guys want leads, or are you just here for the fun of it? Tell me, type the word leads into the actual chat box if you guys want leads, so I know who here wants leads. Type the word leads into the chat box so I can also make sure you guys are listening. And only one person wants leads. All right, the rest of you can leave. Only one person wants leads. Perfect. Alejandro, you're the only person who's going to stay on this call. The rest of them don't want leads. Nobody wants leads here. All right, you do. Okay. All right. All right. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Susan, you want leads. Candido, you want leads. Elizabeth, yes, you want leads. You want lots of leads, I think. Elizabeth is like, give me them leads. All right. All right. I see more people joining, and some of these people I know. Oh my goodness. I'm getting super excited. Hey, Jeff. Hi, Jen. How exciting to see you guys on this call. I am super, super thrilled to show you guys some organic lead generation strategies today, which is going to be the theme of today's session. We're going to go over a bunch of different ways in which you can generate leads. And I am still waiting for the rest of you to tell me if you want leads or not, because the way it works is in my training sessions, if you don't tell me you want leads, I just kick you guys out. So you're gonna have to use the chat. The only person who I'm excusing from this is Sam, if he's still driving, because I think he was. The rest of you use that chat box, and throughout today's training session, you guys are gonna be prompted to use the chat box, because I am gonna be giving away some templates at the end of today's session. So the person who doesn't participate doesn't get the templates. I'm trying to like throw threats here. It's not working. You guys are, yeah, whatever, Kieran, keep talking. Like, we're not really listening to you. But I'm relentless. I used to be a teacher, so it really like, I don't take anything personal, and I have really, really thick skin. So you guys can imagine, I used to teach teenagers. I see Jen. Oh my goodness. Hi. This makes me so happy. Makes me so happy to see some familiar faces on here. So without any further ado, guys, we are going to get started. I am going to go ahead and share my screen at this very point with you. And boom, there we go. Now you guys can all hear me okay. Show me your thumbs up. You guys can hear me okay. My audio is clear. You guys can see my screen. Can you just do this for whoever I can see? So I know you guys are good. Both thumbs up. Perfect. Brilliant. So welcome everyone. This beautiful morning for you guys. It's actually afternoon for me because I'm in the UK, like I mentioned. My parents live here, so I got here not too long ago, and I am here, and it is, I think it's like 3 p.m. for me, so it's not terrible. It starts to get terrible towards the end of the day when I have other calls, so I'm not going to get into that right now. So today we're going to look at organic lead generation strategies. I spoke with Tim, and we talked about doing some training sessions, and then we talked about a different couple of topics that might be of interest to you guys. And then I mentioned, well, listen, especially recently with, our businesses, due to the circumstances having been affected, I mean, of course, things are back on track now, but, with things having been affected and impacted, a lot of people are wary to spend too much money right now because we all got, we all felt the brunt of everything that was going on. So, one of the ways that we've been finding a lot of success online is actually using some of the strategies which I'm about to share with you guys today to generate leads organically. Now, the way this is going to work is you guys are going to see my screen. I'm sure this isn't your first Zoom session. You guys are probably all zoomed out. But one way that I like to make sure that I also keep engaging and I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, which is something I do, but not in these occasions, but so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, is I love your participation. As you guys probably already know and have noticed, I love it when you guys talk to me. I love it when you guys ask questions. I am going to be monitoring the chat box throughout this course of today's session. So if you have questions, please just type them in there. If I don't answer them right away, it's because I'm in the flow of things and I will address it. So nothing that you guys are going to type is going to go unaddressed. But if I see something you're asking and I know I'm going to answer it throughout the course of the session, then that's how it's going to go. Session's going to run at about, I would say, about an hour and a bit, like really just depending on you guys and your participation as well. And 100% love participation. I actually did a post on Instagram today, if you guys follow me on there, is about how much I actually miss hosting sessions in person, because then I can really go and pester you, be like, talk to me. I can't really do that over Zoom because I can only threaten you guys so much. You're so far away from me. So without any further ado, winning at marketing and organic lead generation strategies. So welcome everybody to today's session. Once again, a little bit about me and who I am. My name is Kiran Gandhi, and I have been in this industry for, oh my God, it feels like almost a decade, I would say, just over like 9 years. And I was with Remax for majority of my sales career. I've actually seen this industry from various facets. I used to be a trainer with Remax Integra. So I think at some point or the other, I have been to your office, but that would have been a while ago. I would say at least like 5-6 years ago, maybe. And I used to train, I used to be one of the training specialists with Integra, visiting different Remax offices. And then I also was a part of a top producing team with my business partner. We ran a top producing team in the Ontario region on the West End. And, and then about 2 years ago, I started my own consulting and coaching company because training and teaching has been something that's been in my kind of DNA. It's something I can't really get rid of, and I absolutely enjoy it. So I've had the privilege and honor to speak at various events and be a part of different offices, boards, and I also do coaching one-on-one with agents. So that is why I'm here today. And marketing is something I've been very, very passionate about, something that I've been studying and applying in my own business, both paid and organic marketing strategies for a number of years now. I've been running Facebook ads. I've been doing social media. I've done everything that you can imagine. I have tried, because one thing I think I understand about marketing, and I think everybody needs to understand about marketing, is that there are no guarantees, and you have to try it and you have to just take some risks. And that's just the way marketing works. And like with anything else, I always say there is no right or wrong. You can, whatever works for you, as long as you do it on a consistent basis, is going to get you results. So when you see people applying certain strategies, and one thing that I feel in our industry, and just type in guilty if you're guilty in the chat box of this, because I know I was, is having shiny object syndrome. Okay. Shiny object syndrome. basically, whenever you see the next bet, oh, that person's, oh, did you see that person's using that company and they got so many leads? Or this person's, and you look around and you like go to some training session and they give you 50 tips and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I'm going to do this. 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 And then what you do is you do a little bit of this and you do a little bit of that. And then you do a little bit of this and you never do it consistently. So you never take one or two things. Thank you guys for admitting that you're guilty. The rest of you are either just not telling me the truth or you're not telling me the truth. And you guys know this because I was that agent who would sit, and I still get like, still have to like pull myself and back on track sometimes when I see this, oh, there is this new way of getting leads. Like, I wonder. And then it's just like, okay, well, that worked for about like 2 hours, or you do it once or twice and then you don't get consistent results. And then you're just like, well, this isn't working. Let's hop on to the next thing, right? So I will say this from experience. Thank you guys for participating and being honest, because that's what this is about, right? Like, one thing about me is I'm very, very raw and very real with what I do, because I have spent tens and tens and thousands of dollars in marketing. And I can tell you for a fact that there are no guarantees. There are so many variables with every piece of marketing and every avenue of marketing that you try, that, the same thing could work for one person in one market and it could absolutely flop for the other person in another market. And that's just how it is. But one thing I will say, and that I will guarantee you, is that if you pick something and you just do it consistently and you don't get attached to the outcome with your dear life, and you don't obsess over the outcome, and you just keep doing it on a consistent basis, and you don't stop the first time it doesn't work for you or the second time it doesn't work for you, I do guarantee that if you adopt that mindset, things are going to start producing results for you, because that's just the truth of it. That's just how it goes. Now, I personally will say this, and I've learned this from many people who I've attended, Seth Godin. How many of you here know who Seth Godin is? How many of you guys know who these marketing gurus, right? And one of the things that I will say is, like, I follow a lot of these people who are like internet marketing OGs, and they've personally admitted that when they started off trying, maybe using social media or a blog or a podcast or something, that at the beginning they maybe had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 followers, right? So we get so obsessed with like the number of followers we have and the number and the results that we just, if we don't see that number going up, let's just say, I'm going to give you guys one of the strategies today, which is going to talk about doing a lot of stories on social media, right? So the first thing a lot of you will start thinking about is, oh, but I don't have that many followers, right? I don't have that many people who follow me, or I don't have that many people in my email data list, or whatever the case may be. I want you to drop that entire mindset. And I promise you, if you just do what I'm telling you today, even one of the things that I tell you today, and you do it on a consistent basis, and you don't stop, and you're just consistent, and you don't focus on how many people are watching, and you don't focus how many people are, and if you just keep and continue to provide value from a helpful standpoint to people, you will start to see results, because that is the biggest mindset shift that I find a lot of agents need to apply, is that detach from what you think, from numbers, from outcomes and things like that for a little while, and then be patient, because the results are going to come, and they will come, and you will get them if you stick consistently. Okay. So one of the things I want to say is, now I know that we've luckily moved past a lot of the uncertainties that we faced, but as a real estate agent, I still feel that a lot of you have, we do, like, and whoever is leading in an industry, you have to remember that your job, through whatever material you're putting out there, is to lead people, is to guide people, is to become that filter of all that noise that's going out there. This has applied forever. This has applied forever. So if you apply this to your marketing, this kind of mindset approach has always been, applicable, but especially so now, when times are a little bit uncertain in certain markets. Still, people are still recovering. There's still a lot of uncertainty. So we need to be that filter who consolidates and provides opinions to people and make them feel safe, because that's what they're looking for, right? Like, when somebody when somebody attaches themselves to an agent or attaches themselves to a professional, what they're looking for is, hey, please lead me and guide me through. I'm afraid, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. You just, just lead the way. And that's our job as agents, I feel, primarily and foremost. So some of the things I'm going to teach you guys today are going to be, maybe for some of you, not for everybody, but for some of you, some of the things I'm going to talk about today are going to be a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you've not done that before. Maybe you've tried it and it hasn't worked for you. So what I want you to do right now is get out of your own way. And the reason I'm taking my time with this mindset component is because I will tell you this, all the strategies, all the tools, all the tips, all the technology, all the money in the world that you can spend is not going to serve you if you don't get out of your own way and if you don't adopt the right mindset. And that's where most people lack consistency, fail at motivation, or go for like 2 weeks and then they kind of backtrack, is because they start getting in their own way. So whatever objections that you have, oh, I'm not tech savvy, or I have enough leads, or social's not really worth it for me, or I already do stories, or this isn't the right time, or I don't have enough followers, like whatever these objections that you may have in your own mind. Remember, I love this picture. If you look at this picture carefully, I love this picture. It is like you standing in your own way, like you creating a mental barrier for yourself. And we all do this sometimes. We all do this when we're pushed outside of our comfort zone. I get, when I get told, if I have a coach and I get told, hey, you should try doing this, it's a lot of the times it's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, and then because it's not something I'm comfortable with or I'm not used to, because it's different, I'll start coming up with all these excuses and like these mental barriers in my own head. So please get rid of those, because having an open mind hurt nobody. Just have an open mind. What's the worst that's going to happen? And a lot of what I'm teaching you today is organic anyway, is not going to ask you to spend money. It's going to be more of an investment of your time, which is way more valuable, but still, I want you to not be in your own way. So now, one of the reasons why we're focusing today on organic leads is, by the way, I'd be interested. How many of you have tried Facebook ads, running Facebook ads? Just type in Facebook ads in the Zoom chat so I can get a bit of an idea. So then it gives me time to have a sip of my tea, but Facebook ads. Okay. Not yet, Facebook ads. Okay. Perfect. So a bunch of you, this is great. So a bunch of you have tried Facebook ads. Now, one of the things I will say with Facebook ads, guys, is conversion rates can be low. Conversion rates can be low because generating leads is one thing, but converting them is another thing, right? So conversion rates are usually low with Facebook ads. Why? Because if you think of the psychology of a lead that comes through an ad, okay, like any ad, any type of ad that you're running, not organically, but through an ad, they're scrolling happily on their Facebook feed, and then they see your ad like, oh, look at this listing, or look at this project, or whatever you're giving them, right? And they click on it, and then all of a sudden a random person's calling them, because that's exactly who you are, is a random person. At this point, when you're speaking with them and having a conversation with them, they don't know who you are. They don't know, like, and definitely don't trust you yet. And more importantly, what I want to say is that people don't know anything about you, right? Like, they don't know how well you negotiate. They don't know your knowledge of the market. They don't know what type of person you are, your experience in the business, the problems you've solved with previous clients, and your track record. Okay. So these are things that they don't know. And we go in with our 80s sales scripts that we have from whatever training and coaching program we have in the past, and start hammering it down with these leads. Like, hey, are you wondering, like, those don't work, guys. Okay. We're dealing in 2020. We are dealing with a very conscious consumer. We are dealing with a conscious consumer. The people that are clicking on ads nowadays, like the consumers, have shifted in mindset, in consciousness, in what they're looking for. In, people really care about who they work with. They have a very high BS radar, right? So if you're trying to be salesy and cheesy and you reek of like salesism, if it's a word, then they're gonna pick up on that from miles away. And that's gonna, that's gonna be just like, no, 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 no. So what I found is that it's been very like with Facebook ads, my experience is it's a numbers game. So if you have 100 leads, you have to go with like the average conversion rate in the industry is like 1%. So if you have 100 leads, on average, I say a lead can cost anywhere from like, sometimes a lead costs $1 or less, and some leads cost like $15 to $20. Like it really just depends. Like I said, so many variables, but let's just say on average you pay $8 to $9 per lead. So then you have to do it. It's a numbers game, and it requires a lot of follow-up, and it requires a lot of like solid content sent their way, which can bridge the gap between where they are right now of having no clue who you are and them trusting you enough to work with you. And it's cumbersome. That process is very, very, this is why a lot of us have low conversion rates with paid advertising, right? Now, unless you have a really, really solid follow-up strategy, you're gonna soon find or get frustrated with spending money on Facebook ads and not seeing results, okay? And that's just the way it works. Type agree with me if you agree with me on this, because I think if you've suffered low conversion rates and you've spent money on Facebook ads, you'll kind of know where I'm coming from here. Okay, perfect. So this is my own experience as well, right? Like there's been days where I used to spend $500 in one day on Facebook ads because I knew I needed to sell. Like I had allocations, I need to sell. And at that point, I wasn't deploying a lot of organic lead generation strategies, and I wasn't nurturing my database whatsoever. I was just like, next. That was my mentality. And that's the mentality that a lot of us have, right? So this whole like everything I'm talking about right now is really gonna shift a lot of that, and it's gonna take you a little bit longer maybe, but it's gonna get you more leads, absolutely, for sure. So now, one of the things which is really important is when you start organically generating leads, guys, is that you equip yourself with knowledge. Expertise always beats experience. If there are people in this group right now who aren't as experienced, maybe you're newer to the industry. And when I say new to the industry, I generally say anybody 2 years or less in the industry, right? One of the biggest gaps that I find with generating leads and converting leads that newer agents have is lack of confidence when they speak to leads. The amount of times I've had my clients and in group sessions and trainings, people come up to me and be like, I got a lead, I just don't know what to do. They want to sell their house. Like, I'm lost. Like, I got the lead, I was so excited about getting the lead, now I am clueless, right? So if you are in that category, please make sure you equip yourself with knowledge. And also, and I will say this because this is the truth, even if you're experienced, do not take your expertise for granted. Things are changing. Are you guilty of not always being, are you guilty of not being on top of the market? Are you guilty of not knowing what's happening from a macro to micro level in your neighborhood? Because things we're going to talk about are really going to be impacted by that, okay? So let's get started with inbound marketing. We all hear this, the whole like, let's not chase business, let's attract business, right? We've heard this, it's been kind of sort of a cliche, but it is true. When you attract business, it's business that's pretty much ready to go. And I'm going to give you an example. I have in my coaching business, when things started to slump a little bit with COVID, because even I got hit in my business, we all felt the impact. I had to watch my finances. So I deployed a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today in my business. And I started to see a lot more results organically, right? People, when they reach out to me now, they have been following me for a while, social media wise. They know what I'm about. They know what I'm about as a person. They know what I do pretty much. And the only thing that's left then is for them to talk to me to see if I can specifically help them. And after that, it's a quick close. So when you have organic leads, they're pretty much ready to work with you. So I'm just giving you an example. For instance, like when Tim called me, Granted, Tim also has known of me and me from years, but like, it was through social media and him seeing, oh, she's doing all this stuff or whatever the case may be. When somebody reaches out, it's like, I'm pretty much like ready to go. And those are beautiful leads. That's business that you can close right away. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about providing value, because you can only organically generate leads if you provide true value. And we are going to look at social media, guys, quite in depth today. but not in the way that, maybe you guys are used to seeing social media stuff, but in a real honest way, because the strategies I'm sharing with you guys today, my good friend and business partner on one of the courses that I've created has closed. So she went within 4 years from doing 40,000 in her first year through organic social media use to over 1.3 or 1.4 in 2019. And they are on track for 2 this year. So, and that's all organically, like absolutely no paid marketing. Okay. So we're going to talk about that today. But how do you exactly provide value? So I want you guys to use your social media channels and your emails and whatever outlets that you have to start providing context. See, when you're just documenting stuff that's going on, like a lot of you could say, oh, well, I use social media, right? I use social media. I post, I do stories, I do posts. That's fine. That's fine. And just like say social media if you guys, or just type just type SM if you use social media regularly, like if you post stories, if you do whatever, like just let me know. So you guys, I know you guys are using it, because I think that's essentially what happens, right? Like you guys are using social media. Good. 2 people use social media? No, I'm one of them. Okay, 3, 2, there we go. Perfect, there we go. You guys see what I'm doing, right? Every time I get you to type something, I'm also taking a sip of my tea. So, that's good. And I love the fact that you guys are. But there is a difference, and majority of agents are using social media the wrong way. And when I say the wrong way, again, I shouldn't say wrong, but they're not using it in a most effective way, right? Because your goal ultimately is to generate business. It's not to look good. The biggest mistake I think that agents make when they approach social media is trying to think that we're some sort of influencer, celebrity, and then they start getting so gung-ho about the optics and the numbers, and we become so fixated on what that looks like. Ultimately, this is not about feeding your ego or how good you look. It's about how much business are you closing, right? Like at the end of the day, how many people are reaching out to you directly as a result of the content that you're putting out there, versus just looking at your account and being like, oh, nice, just another agent, just another just sold, just listed, open house type of post. Great, great. That's where the context comes into play. That is where I say today's consumer is not just impressed by a good looking profile of somebody who has a lot of really cool looking branded sharp posts. It's more about the value that they're providing, and it goes beyond copy pasting stuff. It goes beyond just sharing existing material. It goes beyond just listed sold, open houses, look at me, me. Beyond that, it goes more into providing context. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna go, and this requires work. This requires you to do work. This requires for you to actually not stay surface level with the content that you're posting, but really, really go in depth with stories and posts. And I'm going to speak about that today. So the first winning strategy, guys, and I've already been talking and building up towards it, is using social media stories. If you are not posting stories, I could talk about stories for 7-8 hours alone because of how effective it is. My business partner and good friend I was mentioning earlier, who's a top agent in Toronto, uses social media stories pretty much 90% for growing her business. Okay. This is a really, really effective strategy because stories are authentic. They're not curated. And now, what's the difference between curated content and authentic content? Curated content used to work well, 80s, 90s, maybe, I don't know. Now, people want to see the real deal. They want to see real. Like the type of content that people are consuming more actively in today's day and age is very different from the type of content that people used to consume. And a lot of what agents are doing on social media is still based on those older beliefs and older kind of like, let's make it look good. Let's spend a lot of like, let's brand it. Let's have our picture on it. Let's make sure it looks good, right? That stuff is very curated. And the issue with that stuff is it doesn't resonate with people. And moreover, it doesn't really provide any context. It's still just there for the sake of being there, okay? And the other good thing with social media stories is that they start a real conversation one-on-one. I want you guys to think about this for a second. A lot of us don't focus on stories enough. What happens when you put a post on social media? What happens when you put a post? Let's just say, what's the typical agent posting about? The typical agent posts about stuff that they can brag about. Okay, so look at me, I just sold a house, right? Okay, let's just say you just sold a house, right? So if you sold a house, you're posting this just sold post. How are people engaging with you? How are people engaging with you on a post that you put on Facebook or on Instagram? A static post, like not a story, but a post. What's their means of engagement? You guys can tell me in the chat box. Means of engagement is like, how do they react to that? Like, what can they do to engage with you as a result of that post? Like, what are some of the things people do? I want you guys to think about this and tell me in the chat box. They can like it, yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah. Comment, share, like, okay. And what happens with those comments? Those comments are public, right? They'll say, congrats, great, well done, yay, good job. My mom will be the first one to comment on posts like that, right? And half the time I have to end up like, being like, Mom, please don't do that. And don't post smiley faces and 50 like emojis next to it. But that's her, like, that, you know. Reactions, positive or negative. Okay, yeah, usually, I mean, because see, the thing is, like, when you're posting something, the reactions are going to be positive because they don't want to, like, a lot of the times people don't want to stir like troubles, so they just stay positive. Okay, perfect. Now what happens when you post a story instead and people want to respond to you? What is the means of responding to a story? And is it public or is it one-on-one? You guys know, I mean, this is really, they're watching, yes, but how can they engage with you? How are they engaging? What happens when somebody wants to congratulate you as a response to a story versus a post? It starts a one-on-one conversation. Yes, that's it. It starts a one-on-one conversation. And that, yes, John, they comment on a post, but when we're looking at a story, that's not what happens. For stories, so I'm going to tell you this because, and I apologize because I'm planning on doing this, so I absolutely don't guarantee what's going to show up. Okay, so we have this right here. Okay, so some of my friends are here, so let's just say Anita posted something. I'm going to react to it and I'm going to send her a message. Immediately, it starts a one-on-one conversation with the person. And conversations are what lead to conversions, not comments or likes. Ultimately, you want to start conversations with people one-on-one because that is a segue into having conversions. Is there a worry that the agent doesn't have enough time to reply? No, I don't recommend automated replies to stories whatsoever. I recommend that you take the time to respond personally. And I mean, if you get to that problem, you have a very good problem, Chris, because that means a lot of people want to have conversations with you. And I reply to everything in my stories because what happens is, what you have to remember is, when someone's actually taking the time to respond to your story, they are starting a conversation with you. And you want to take advantage of that opportunity to respond back to them. And sometimes what I will do is, if I'm busy and I can't respond right away, I'll quickly react, like I'll like their comment, and I will then start and then I'll respond. Like, I will make sure I respond. I would not outsource this to an assistant. This is a very personal situation here. I use my personal account for this. I am the one who responds. My friend who I was telling you about, my business partner who uses stories to grow her business, also takes the time to respond to every single one of the stories. And yes, it takes time, but that's where the conversions happen. That's where your conversations are starting. If you now take this just sold post and convert it into a story format, and you don't just say, look at this property, first picture, and then you just say, look at this property, I just sold it, yay, brilliant, okay, and nothing happens, as opposed to you then taking a video of that property in your stories, because it's casual, right? You just kind of take a picture and you just say, look at this property, and then you give a bit of context to be like, we had this listing, we got so many offers, this is a little challenge we had, and then we finally sold it within like 3 days over asking. And you just give some context, right? Because you're telling a story, because that's what stories are. They're authentic, real, lifetime, not curated, but you're still getting the point across, that you have a story and that you sold a property, but you're actually giving more context and you're providing a little bit more insight. And it opens up the door for you to give so much more context to people versus just saying, here's a post and I just posted it and it looks good on my timeline, you know, or it looks good on my profile. And then when people see that and then they respond to you being like, oh, that's really cool, I had no idea things were selling so fast. Oh yeah, you see what I mean? It's a different angle you're taking with the same content. It starts a real conversation. And Chris, I will get to some of your questions. I think though the point that I do want to make here is one of the very good points that question that you asked me, is to take the conversation offline right away. No, you do not. You do not. You keep them in the DMs. Once they slide into your DMs, you keep them there until there is an opening for you to logically take them out. You do not want to bombard them with salesy stuff right away. If someone is responding to your story and saying, oh, that's great, I had no idea things were selling so fast in the market. Yeah, I know things are going really fast. What we've noticed in the market is XYZ. Oh, really? Yeah. If you want, I can send you a market update because I have one. Sure. All right. What's your email? You see how this is happening now? So that's when you can have that opening to be like, hey, do you want me to send you stuff? Because I can do that, right? Sometimes I'll be like, you can see a property in your stories, and if you're touring a property or if you see something on MLS, which is a really good opportunity, and this one works really well, guys. This one works really, really, really well. If you see a property that's under a certain price point and it's a really good deal in the market, let's say, essentially, right? If it's a good deal in the market and you just take a picture of the screen, you literally just take a picture of the screen and be like, look at this property, and it's under 750, which is well, you know, which is and it's in really good shape, which is a really good deal. Awesome. And then you can be like, would you like, you know, we send properties like these out to our clients on a regular basis. Do you want to be on our list? And you can do this with your stories on a weekly basis. You can do this for pre-construction, you can do this for buyers, you can do this for sellers. If you do that as a post, everybody can see everybody's email address, right? People are reluctant to comment because it's public. Everybody can see that stuff. Whereas if you say, hey, just using a message box, an answer box on your stories, just to be like, pop your email address here. If you want to be added to our list, we'll start getting you people. We'll start getting you leads. And then, yes, you add them to your CRM at that point. But the point here is not for you to drag them out of your DMs as soon as you can. The point here is to nurture them in your DMs, right? The point here is for you to have those conversations in your DMs with these people, okay? And now, where are those opportunities? You might be asking, Kiran, that's great, but aren't we going to run out of stuff to talk about? You are never going to run out of stuff to talk about. You have opportunities at every single step of your day. One thing we don't do as real estate agents, and you guys might correct me if I'm wrong, but we operate on autopilot. I don't know if Jeff, are you still on this call? Jeff Aroni, if you're still on this call, my friend, do we operate on autopilot or not? Because I know this is a conversation I've had with you and 100
no,
we people. Don't. Liar. We operate on
Of course we do.
Of course we do. That's what we do. We operate on autopilot. We don't go about our days consciously. We don't think about the things that we're doing. We just go. And we miss all these opportunities throughout the day where we can be like, oh, I could actually talk about this. We don't even listen to our clients because half the time we're so busy running around and chasing our own tails that we're just not even paying attention and aren't present. But our clients are asking us questions throughout the day. People are asking us questions throughout the day. Things are happening with deals throughout the day, which are all opportunities for you to actually create content, specifically so stories, guys. Because when someone's asking you a question, one thing I will recommend to everybody, if there's one thing you're going to do I mean, please do more than one thing from today's session, but if there's one thing you're going to do is have a Google Doc or a note or something on your phone, which you just call it questions from clients. And every time you get asked a question or a scenario pops up, write it down. That right there is your inspiration for content, because you'll start to see if one person's asking a question, more people are wondering about it. And don't think, oh, is anyone going to care about this? Trust me, people care about this stuff. People are obsessed with real estate. People are obsessed with HGTV. Like, it's just insane how much people want to know and learn, and they're curious. It's just the way it is. So take advantage of their obsession. Like, feed them the content that they care about. Home inspections, oh my god, like, you have opportunities galore. And over time, what's going to start happening is you're going to start develop a habit of posting, right? You'll start to just go about your day more consciously, and you'll start to be like, even you sitting down and doing a CMA, even you just sitting down and doing research on MLS and looking at stuff is an opportunity for you to find content and be like, oh wow, like, yeah, cool. That's great. Like, there's content right there. Now I'm going to bribe you guys a little bit. And that is, if you guys, I'm going to share three story templates with you guys here today. But for those of you who tag me in a story on Instagram, because hey, listen, this is how we do stuff out here, okay? If you tag me in your story on Instagram, I'll send you guys 5 instead of 3. The rest of you are still going to get it. But you guys can follow me on Instagram. I just posted my handle there, and you guys can do it at the end. It doesn't have to be now, but just a quick screenshot of the screen, and then tag me in it, and I will send you guys some stuff. And this is what you have to start doing as well, right? Like, get your clients to tag you. Actually use that, because and I'm throwing this in there for a reason. What happens is, when my followers now start to see not only me raving about the fact that I'm doing a training session, but also seeing attendees post about it, it gives me, it's indirectly, it's a testimonial, but it's very authentic, it's very real, right? It's more believable. So someone just unmuted themselves. Please mute yourselves, because otherwise I have to go through like everybody. Okay, cool. And we don't want to come across as salesy, okay? So just, there is no lack of inspiration. I apologize for like my French in here, but it is true. People like to see worn down homes. People like to see stuff that's not pretty all the time. The one notion we have in our head is that everything we post on social media has to be aesthetically pleasing. It really doesn't. You can be posting literally about, look at this place. Can you believe how worn down it is? Like, can you believe this place? Like, this is a place we're touring today, or maybe go look at those homes. They'll be great stories. Like, you will become the HGTV for your audience. And there are, success stories if you have them. And over time, essentially, you're going to use your Instagram stories to embed in people's minds that you know what you're talking about, and you know how to handle hurdles and problems. You know what challenges people experience. It is surprising, interesting. Yes, Lisa, because people want to see real. When you watch, okay, let's think about this logically. We all watch HGTV, right? And when we do it, like, I mean, as agents, we shake our heads, being like, oh my God, I can't believe. People love it though, right? People love it because what happens there? There is this like, couple, and there's been memes about it. There's been memes about it, and people are like, oh, I don't know, I bird watch for a living, and I don't have a $2 million budget, whatever. But then they have this couple with these, who have a goal, and then they have, so the couple has a goal, or a person has a goal, or a family has a goal, a real estate based goal. It starts off happy and cheerful, and then there is a problem, and everybody's like, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? And then they solve the problem, and then in the end, everybody's happy. And the problem is like that is basically at the core of the episode, whatever episode you're watching, which is why when we show problems, it's actually great. Like, think about it all the time. Like, in your market, when you're researching MLS, do you ever come across flips where you'd be like, oh my God, look at what they did, and oh, they sold it for so and so much. Oh my God, yeah, this house was like, this was a gut job, and it was on the market like 2 years ago or a year ago, and look at it now. We all come across those opportunities to create a story and share it with our audience. You guys can do that. Where you can literally, all you need to do, and I'm just gonna like try to do this right now. Okay, so let's just go to realtor.ca. Okay, just go to realtor.ca and open up any property. Like, let's just literally take any property. There we go. Oh, I use this, by the way, guys, this $10 million home. I don't know if it's still on the market. I think it is. So, you know, you can literally take pictures of this and be like, look at this home. I can take my phone. I can take just some pictures. Don't reveal the address or anything like that. And just be like, look at these features. Just take a few pictures and post them on your story and be like, this is located in Toronto, guess the price of this property. Or can you believe this property looked like this 2 years ago and it was sold for so and so much, now it looks like this, guess what it sold for. Or, you know, just turn it into a case study. But it's effort, right? Like, some of you are probably listening to me like, I do have time for that. But it's either time or money or both. It's just the way it is, right? Like, because once you start to, and it becomes easier over time, and I promise you that it will become easier for you over time. Like, as you start to do this on a daily basis, your posting will not necessarily be effort. Like, it won't be effort. You'll just be like, oh yeah, look at this. And you'll just instinctively pick up your phone and start posting. You're out doing showings, you'll pick up something, you'll just take a picture and you'll instinctively know, I'm going to post this. And like, once I'm done with my clients, you know, someone's asking you a question, you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to do a quick video about this on my story later on. Because the problem, especially with videos, is it's a big commitment, right? A lot of us, video marketing, gosh, like, if you follow me on Instagram, I spoke about this last night. I've been hearing about it for a decade, and still I don't see people doing it because it's just too much of a commitment. But guess what? Because we try to make it perfect and we try to make it all like fancy, and we worry about like, we worry about what it's going to look like. We worry about, guys, by the way, is there background noise? Is it bothering you? Because somebody across the street decided that they wanted to start digging a hole. Like, is it loud or is it clear? Let me know, please, in the chat box. It's not bothering you? Perfect. Okay, the magic of AirPods Pro, it's fine. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, there is literally somebody like digging a hole with some machine across the street, so I should have closed the window. Okay, perfect. So yeah, people, you know, make videos into this massive like issue and deal when it really isn't. Like, it really isn't. When you just, because when you're doing story videos, I could do one right now, chilling in my little home office and just talking about it. And people don't expect it to be fancy, and it still gets the point across. So it actually lifts that, you know, lifts all that burden of, oh my God, I have to do it properly and this and that. So this is really cool. Has anybody watched the show Billions, by the way? Because I think this is, for me, I don't watch a lot of TV. Have you not watched Billions? Has anybody watched Billions? Nobody? Can I not be friends with anybody here? Really? Oh, come on, guys. Okay, you guys need to watch it. It's a cool show. It's basically, it's about traders, and you know, it's really interesting. But I don't watch a lot of TV, but you need to get on that, guys. There's one quote in here which I really love, and it says, everyone has access to the information, we just know how to analyze it better. Okay. And that's where, and this is coming from somebody who's like this, you know, multi-millionaire hedge fund guy. Okay, so essentially what this is talking about, and this applies to real estate, when you remember, data is no longer something we hold dearly to ourselves anymore. It's out there, everybody has access to it, but people still don't know how to make sense of it. Okay, people don't know how to make sense of it, people don't know how to interpret it. So if you become that person and use social media stories to convey that, you know, every 5th or 6th of the month, I love it when people post in their social media, and if you do this, continue, but just start to do what I'm saying as well. Those market update templates, pretty looking market update templates from Trem, with your name, your logo, your picture, and everything on it. It looks really cool. We post it. It's like, oh, stats are out, guys. Look at this. And what? First of all, they're generic, because you are probably just pulling them from Trem for an entire region, which means absolutely nothing. Secondly, you are not explaining to people what this means. What does this mean? How do you analyze this? How do you compare it to last year? How, month over month, year over year? And stories provide you with an excellent platform, for you to convey that message. Okay, so always ask yourself when you're posting something, what does it mean for them, for the potential homeowner? buyer, investor, tenant, landlord, first-time home buyer, I don't care, whoever it is, if you're posting something, do not forget to provide that piece of context, that analysis, because that's where you will start to, and why am I asking you to do this? Because, hey, weren't you talking about lead generation, Kieran? I still am. But what starts to happen is when you do this, people then start to see that you have credibility. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. This is demonstrating, proving to them that you know what's up, versus you just trying to say, hey, like, I have a really nice picture and a logo, and like, look at all these just as a just sold posts, right? Like, it goes deeper than that. And that's where people start to build trust with you. That is where people start trusting you. And this is where your conversions become a lot easier. Okay, so always thinking in small chunks. This is really important too. So when you're posting content, you don't have to post about the whole transaction process in one post, in one story. You take little things and little pieces of the puzzle, and you just kind of, put it out there. So stories are essentially, you can also, another way of looking at it is like the HGTV for your audience, or also kind of looking at it as like a drip campaign for every follower that you have. Okay, now, some of you some of you, and this is something I want to address, some of you might be hung up on the fact that, but how do I get more followers? How many do you have right now? Do you have 20? Do you have 50? Do you have 100? What are you doing for them? Before you start worrying about having more people follow you, just simply look at the list that you already have. How many of them have you connected with? If you have kids, and I know, of course, there's restrictions right now, but like in your normal day-to-day, you have neighbors, some of you have kids who have friends, who have parents, who go to activities. How many of you are actively making sure that you're adding everybody onto your social media and connecting with everybody? Or how many of you think that we're too good? Like, can't be a snob in this, right? If you want to actually get business, you cannot be a snob. You have to just add everybody. I'm ruthless. Like, if I meet somebody, don't be surprised if I start following everybody who's on this call right now. I probably will, because I don't care how many people I'm following versus how many people follow me. The optics don't matter to me. I know people who have 10 times the number of followers that I have in the coaching field, and they're not doing half of what I'm doing in terms of business. And I know this for a fact. So it doesn't matter. The numbers don't matter at the beginning anyway. Like, just get going, and over time you're going to start to grow your follower base. So whenever you meet somebody, start following them. Send them friend requests. What's the worst that's going to do? They don't follow you back. They don't accept your friend request. Too bad. Doesn't matter. But it's almost like, and then if you're posting stories on a consistent basis, like, I would suggest that you post on throughout the day. Like, don't just post everything all at once, because then everything all at once will go away. You should always have a story displayed, and just stagger it, like every 2 to 3 hours, post something, every 2 to 3 hours, post something. So just throughout your day, just kind of drip your stories, which is really, really important. Now, something very simple that you guys can get hands-on with is something like this. Look, I mean, this is just one way of doing a story. You turn your camera towards your screen. Lisa, you said sometimes I do different. Okay, who cares if you don't know them? You're a real estate agent. Your point is it's not to use your social media. This is something you're going to have to really just get over. It's a mental barrier again. You have to forget that your social media is your private world, and I don't know this person and I don't know that person. No, for those personal posts, I want you to safety. I mean, there is no, you have an account, There is nothing unsafe about it. If you're worried about safety, don't post your kids' pictures, don't post your personal pictures, remove them, and then make your accounts public. You don't want to be a secret agent. Like, people should be able to find you easily, right? And for me now, I'll be honest, like, I post here and there about my nephew, because like, for me, like, that's maybe like the closest I have to like a kid, or the most personal thing in my life. And if I'm posting about my nephew, or if I'm posting pictures with my partner and stuff, I may not necessarily do that on my social media, because I don't want to be too personal. But I have WhatsApp groups, or maybe I'll have a separate account, and that's dedicated to just like content that I think is really, really like private. But as far as I'm concerned, as a human being, I'm out there. Like, I have to put myself out there because that's the only way I'll start attracting people. I can't be shy. I can't be worried. I can't be scared. Can't be a snob. I can't wait for other people to approach me first. It doesn't matter. Influencers, the influencer mindset is what messes with us as agents. It just really does. Like, if you guys know who influencers are, like, influencers get paid to feature products. That's how they get paid, right? So they have to like maintain a certain follower base and look a certain way aesthetically. We're not that. We're not that. We're here to build relationships, and relationships start with conversations. Relationships are a two-way street. So please bear that in mind. Okay, so we're gonna need another 15 minutes because I've gone on way longer than I had expected. But hey, is everybody liking the session so far? Just type like, the word like, if you guys are enjoying the session, if you're finding value in it, so I know that I'm not just rambling on and you're like, when is she going to stop talking? Perfect. Thank you. Perfect, guys. So we have a few more minutes to go, and I think we'll I hope these things are really helping you. So one way in which you can post stories right away is while you're on MLS, just like this. Look at this. This is part of our course. This is my business partner. By the way, if you guys want more information, you guys can always message me afterwards, shameless plug. But this is from our course. So this is what she did, right? This is what she does. She'll basically just turn her camera and be like, look at this. Not a ton of listings today. Here's a few reasons, context, again, behind it. And this is a real actual story. And you guys can do this every day because that's a quick way for you to actually show context, right? Yeah, Jeff, I get annoyed by seeing you pretending to be a model all the time. Also, you need to really stop doing that. But in all honesty, people, and that was a joke, I hope you're not offended, but what happens is people in their stories, you just have to be real. Like, your posts can be static. So this is before somebody asks, I'll actually just go ahead and give you guys context to it. I don't post every day. I post maybe once a week or something, and I'll take a nice bit curated. Again, it's very curated, right? Because it's going to live on my actual profile. When somebody sees it, it's going to live on there. So I have to be careful with what I post. Whereas my stories, I don't care. It's very authentic. And that's actually what people engage with. My business partner and good friend, I don't know the last time she actually created a post, and she's still reeling in the business from her stories every single day. I don't remember the last time she even created a post or put her face on anything. So that's totally up to you, right? But yeah, this is something you can do. Turn your camera towards your screen, pull up some properties that are worth showing, figure out some stats, and start to explain and dissect what you're seeing in your stories. Add some music to it. I do that too. I do all sorts of things. So here are 15 ideas for you guys. Okay, I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker because I've clearly lost track of time, but that's how excited I get about this stuff. So example for your social media stories. Okay, guys, market analysis, virtual tours. You can literally facilitate tours like this. Look, this, and then you can take your camera, and I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but like, you can like record it on your screen while you go through the actual property, and then give them like comments, like talk. You can talk, use audio, or you can just type over it, whatever you want to do, and just show people who like properties like that. People love seeing stuff like that. Any news articles you find of value, absolutely share it. And I always say this, news articles, like stories, are a great way for you to actually be a myth buster as well, because people read articles in the news, half the time they're just not in our favor. So just use that opportunity. What I used to have to always do, I remember when I was selling, is like anytime I saw an article in the morning, because I always looked at, okay, what are they saying today about real estate? I'd be like, oh my God, like, and then I knew I had active clients who were going to read that and get worried about it. And then so I had to take the link and text everybody individually and be like, we'll talk about this. I know you've probably seen this, but just don't let your neighbor get in your head about this, or, the overly worried aunt get into your head about this, because that's what they do. It's a great opportunity for you to actually, on a day-to-day, because that stuff you probably don't want to create posts about, right? That doesn't need to live on your timeline. You can just do a story about that. Funny, lighthearted stuff, architecture for sure, anything to do with experiences with tenants and landlords, because that's been a bit of a touchy subject lately, I think is going to be fantastic for you to talk about. Motivational posts, I do them, but don't be the person who just does motivational posts. I post 1 or 2 every single day, and I make sure I post ones that really truly resonate with me. I don't just post them for the sake of posting them, okay? positive suggestions with what to do, how to keep kids busy, especially right now with like, you know, a lot of them being at home and everything for a while now. And I know some of you are parents, like I'm just an aunt and I can imagine, but just suggestions if you have any. A glimpse into your daily life, home office, Zoom call posts, just like the one that I bribed you all into doing for me, please. And because it shows people that you're active, that you're engaged. People love to see behind the scenes stuff. Again, I will say this is without hesitation. People prefer authentic and real over curated. Curated is what we've been conditioned. Real and authentic is what people actually want. That's the reality of it. So when you show them behind the scenes and stuff, they start to get very curious. Like, oh, look, this is our office. This is what we do. This is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. This is what my home office really looks like. I'm sitting on this cushiony thing right here. My back is really bad. Probably not the best thing, but anyway. You know, information about mortgage rates, lenders, things like that. You know, showings, offers, how are listings being conducted? Like what is the COVID protocol? You can literally, if you're hosting open houses or starting to host open houses, or if you're doing listings, if you're signing, you know, COVID paperwork, actually use that opportunity to do a quick video on it, like using your stories, be like, look, this is what we're doing right now. This is how it looks like. Educate people, give them context. The occasional exercise post, because why not? Anything uplifting that happened during quarantine or any problems that you solved, you know, just anything uplifting. Remember, your job is not to be like negative, because I couldn't believe the amount of agents that were actually forwarding and still continue to forward articles that are based on zero credibility. Like if you're going to quote an article or something that happened or news or something, please always quote the primary source, not some Facebook news outlet. Like you do not, that will hit your credibility real fast. Like that's something that my parents do, and I get so mad at them when they come up with like, you know, I don't know, your condition, whatever you have, a weird condition, can be cured with, you know, I don't know, papaya juice. I don't know. But that kind of stuff, like what I'm trying to say is you don't want to feed into those types of posts or follow them or, you know, spread that kind of stuff. You don't want to do it. Now, quick do's and don'ts before I move on to the next post is do stagger post at different times during the day. Add text, because remember, not everybody can listen to audio when they're looking at your story. So if you're actually speaking, add some bullet points over it too. You know, keep an eye out for other people's stories, explain everything, engage with other people too. Now, if you have followers in your database that you follow, that are people that live in your community, people who you know, when you follow their stories, take time to talk to people, respond to their stuff, react to their stuff, and get creative. Use the question boxes, use tag locations, because over time, if you keep tagging location and you're in the same location, you'll start to show up in the suggested result, you know, suggested people for other locals in the area. And this becomes really easy if you're like in a local area, because all you need to do is once you start posting really solid content and really solid stories, you just need to go to like some of the prominent businesses in your areas, like their Instagram profiles, and then start going through people that follow them. So if you have like, let's just say a bakery or local bakery or something that you know is local and only local people would follow that profile, start going through their followers. And as you start going through their followers, you'll start to see people who have open profiles. Follow them. I follow them. And I'm not kidding. Follow them, go like some of their posts, comment on something. You're not being creepy. Their profiles are open. They're expecting that to happen. But what happens is when somebody does that with me, if somebody follows me and they like some of my posts or start commenting, I at least take the time to check out their profile to see if it's something interesting. And now if I live in the area and you're one of those agents who did that with me and I was one of the people, I would look at you and be like, oh, this is cool. Like they're talking about stuff that's relevant. It's interesting, really cool. Follow. That's how you will over time start to also increase your follower base. Okay, I know it sounds a little bit cumbersome, but it is worth it. It's totally worth it. And over time, you'll also start to see if your profile's public and you're posting good stories organically, more and more people will start following you. I promise you. Now, don't doomsday real estate. Do not do that. Don't feed into the whole doomsday like you don't want to come from a fear-based perspective ever. Media image of real estate, you don't want to feed into that. You don't want to show off. This is important. You don't want to show off. Uh, I, I, I mean, I'm not into a lot of designer stuff, but whatever I have, like, I'm not going to show it off because people already think realtors are overpaid. You don't want to feed into that notion. It irks me a little bit. I'll be honest. Like, at the end of the day, you could be driving the nicest car and everything else, and you could have the nicest suit, but this is not about you. This really isn't about you. Okay. This isn't about you bragging how you're at Bora Bora or you're doing this or you're doing, like, none of that. None of that. Like, of course, share some stories here and there, but again, you do, one of the things that started happening to me, and why I say this is from experience, is what starts happening is I travel a lot because that's just what I do, right? And I don't necessarily post a lot about it or all the time about it, because then my clients and people who are considering working with me become reluctant to reach out to me because they think all I do is travel. Like, you have to look at the perception, like, what are people going to think? Yeah, it looks good, but what are people going to think? And also, like, you're meant to be professional. You're not meant to show off all your cool stuff, right? That doesn't, this is very 80s. I feel like, people taking pictures with their cars and, like, with their sunglasses on and just, like, their phone in their hand is like, I don't know if that doesn't impress people as, as it used to anymore. And that doesn't really speak to your credibility as much anymore either. Like, you got to stay humble when you're portraying yourself on social media. And don't post when your clients are there. If you're doing showings are a beautiful opportunity for you to capture content. And I always say to people, guys, I'm just gonna, like, if you see me take my camera out and take pictures, it's just me noting stuff down. So, sometimes I post it, or sometimes I just want to have it there for my own reference, but it won't interfere. And don't start posting while you're there. Like, store the content. So take a quick, because one story tells 15 seconds. So you can literally do 5 to 6 seconds, or take a quick picture and then just put your phone away. And don't make real estate seem easy. This is important, right? The whole idea is for you to show people who think that we just get overpaid for opening doors, is to show them the complexities that take place behind the scenes, and also to show them that you are fully capable of overcoming those complexities. And that's like, that's the whole idea here. Okay. Winning strategy 2. Okay, guys, stories, please, please, please. If you're on this call, if you follow me, I will post my my handle here right now, because I'm very, very active on Instagram. I will follow you back, because once again, you guys are my target audience, and I want to build relationships with you guys, and that's exactly what you need to do with other people. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And if you guys then start posting stories based on what we talked about today, shoot me a quick DM on Instagram and say, hey, listen, like, can you check my story? If you want opinions, I take time out every day, and I know I have a lot of people who I'm connected with and clients and this, that, but I always find the time to connect, to provide, if you're being like, hey, I did this, like, do you want to take a look at it? Absolutely, I will. It may not be like right away, but I will take a look at it as soon as I get an opportunity to. So connect with me on social media. It's 2 underscores, by the way, if you guys are wondering. Now, winning strategy 2 is using Zoom creatively. This is something I don't see enough agents do, and I always wonder why, especially now. And I mean, I know we're moving into the next phases and whatnot, but, like, you guys can use Zoom just like I'm doing right now to host info sessions, discuss the impacts of COVID on buying, selling. And the way you make it really engaging is taking your local geographic area or your market, and then you can shoot an email to everybody and just be like, listen, I'm going to be doing a 30-minute or 25-minute, like, keep it to 30 minutes, because any longer than that, you're going to lose people. And a lot of us struggle with, what are we going to talk about? But think of it this way. You could host an info session like this with people in your database and invite them. And I have clients, my personal coaching clients, I forced everybody to do it. And they have all thanked me. They all moaned at the beginning, and they all thanked me afterwards for making them do it. Is actually talk about the impacts in your specific market, okay? Because there's a lot of misconceptions, because everybody who's done it has actually ended up, after they created, these are my clients who created this presentation on COVID impacts, and then look at it and I'm like, so how's your market doing? Great. Oh my God, Kieran, you're not going to believe, like, it's actually really positive. So I'm like, brilliant. Now go convey that to the 100 people that are in your database, 20 people, whoever, I don't care how many people you have, 20, 100, you never have too few. You never have too many. And then send a replay to everybody afterwards, because think of how impactful that will be. Promote the session on your stories, on your Facebook, on your Instagram. talk about it relentlessly. When I do master classes, I'm shameless about it. I will post about it until you're like, no more, fine, I'll come. That's just how I do it. Okay. So just start doing that. Encourage, that will encourage a lot of engagement, and you can give away something at the end, right? Like you can have something of value to people to give away at the end, just like I'm giving you guys something at the end. So you guys can always say, okay, here is a giveaway, you know, whatever the case may be. A download or a follow-up. Something that works really well is like, hey, you know, if you text me, then you can, I don't know, text me for, if you text this number, we'll give you a free Zoom evaluation of your property. And maybe that's what you talk about, is like, how do digital evaluations occur? Maybe you have a list of like potential sellers and you can just do a session on how to do digital evaluations. Like, how can we evaluate properties properly, right? And when you educate people, their defense comes down, right? When people don't want to give you their addresses or don't want to talk to you directly, it's because, why don't they want to? Because they think you're going to sell them, and they don't want you to sell them because they don't know enough right now, right? So when you educate them, you lift that barrier away. Client events, you guys can do client events. I had somebody who did, you know, hosting really cool stuff, like, you know, if you have people in your database, you can start sending them things like baskets, let's make cookies together or stuff like that. It's really cool. And you can, of course, do check-in sessions one-on-one as well with people. So you can use Zoom to leverage your database. You can use Zoom to, through your social media, you can say, okay, you know what, we're offering free consultations for investors right now. If you wanted to invest, you're not sure right now, we have some opportunities in the market, but you just want to create a strategy, let's book a 30-minute Zoom session or a 20-minute personalized Zoom session. Use your social media and your emails to promote that. And again, this is organic, right? So you'll start to create some business out of whatever's in front of you. And this is the problem, guys. Like, I think a lot of us start to focus so much on wanting new business, is something I spoke about, that we just forget about what's in front of us and leveraging that properly. The other strategy is Facebook groups. This works so well. If you can niche down and create a Facebook group, this works really, really well too. So I have clients who've done this recently, where instead of like creating a page or something like that, they took first-time home buyers, for instance, and they just created a group for first-time home buyers. And it's a private, not branded group where they're posting on a weekly basis. They're doing info sessions, they're interviewing mortgage agents. And what's happening is everybody in that group, I think over the last, they've done this maybe 3-4 months ago. I think they've done 2 or 3 deals from it already. And this is all organic. They just invited everybody in their database who was a first-time potential home buyer into that group. And then those people, what happened was, it's beautiful because those people then had friends who were also first-time home buyers. So those people started inviting people into that Facebook group because it's closed, right? And organically, now they've grown to over, I think, 120 people in the group, and they've done 2 or 3 deals from it already. And they're posting, like, now that motivates them. So it's, again, another really good organic way of getting more business, is doing Facebook group and messenger funnels. This is not necessarily totally organic, but if you know you want to run if you want to run something on Facebook which is not too expensive, messenger funnels are fantastic, because you can essentially turn your messenger, Facebook Messenger, into a mini CRM. Organize your conversations, it turns into a CRM. So ManyChat is what we use for that, and it's fantastic. I have a last strategy, guys. I promise you I'll be done after this because I'm trying to rant through this, is having a solid email strategy. Your database needs to hear from you at least once a week. No, it's not too much. It's only too much if you're sending me promotional stuff that starts with you, as soon as I open up the email, I see your face and your logo. Yeah, I don't want to see that. But if you write text-based emails, not newsletters with pumpkin pie recipes and things like that, but actual text-based little emails, again, thinking pieces of the puzzle, you guys will start to see results from it. And I promise you this because I have tried this. Here are some examples for you, okay? These are emails you can write out. Every single one of these is one email. Wondering about the difference between deposit and down payment? I'll let you guys read it because I need to have my tea. What about virtual open houses? What are closing costs? What are pre-inspections? What are bully offers? How to win at multiple offers? What's a seller's market? What does CMHC do? What about that view, like view premiums in, or floor premiums, sorry, in buildings? These are all actual emails that I have written out as drip campaigns, just some. I have so many that we wrote out, and I've seen the lowest unsubscribe rate on these emails. Why? Because they just look like this. Look at this. They are not fancy schmancy with 100 pieces of logos and things like that or branding. They're very simple. They're really easy to write because, again, I take the whole puzzle, I break it down into little pieces, digestible chunks, and I just send them one a week. They don't mind because the subject will say, what about bully offers? Hey, Susan, ever heard the term bully offers with respect to real estate? Let me explain what this means. This is what it is. In most cases, this happens. Have a nice day, Kieran. Simple. No, like, if you'd like for me to give you a personal evaluation for your home, complimentary, this, that, the other. No. Very simple, very simple. And what this starts to do, like, this is value. Would you agree? Like, say yes if you think this is nice, like valuable for somebody to receive. Tell me yes in the chat so I know you are all still with me. Nobody's fallen asleep. You guys are still with me. Please tell me you're with me. 2 people are with me. That's it. The rest of you, come on. Great. This is it. Perfect. It's great value. It really is, because it's simple. It's so simple. It's so simple, and we tend to overcomplicate this stuff, right? And this is why we get so fearful of, we don't want to bother people. Well, why are you so afraid that you're going to bother people? Because the stuff you're sending them, Chris, yes, I will be, the recording I'll be sending to your office, and the recording will have the slides, so you guys will get it. But why are we so fearful? Like, because deep down, we know what we're sending them is BS, or we know what we're sending them has an ulterior motive. We know what we're sending, we know it, right? So when we have that, because of that, we have that, like, oh, we don't want to bother people. Well, I'm not bothering people. Hey, if you don't care about this stuff, no problem. But I know I'm not bothering you. I'm giving you value. When you start thinking like that, it's such a huge mindset. You're lucky to be on my email list, okay? Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, this shift is going to be so massive for you. And I've just given you guys like so many ideas that you can write out very quickly. So let's recap. Yes, she's finally finishing and wrapping up the session. An hour, she said at the beginning. But I'm really happy to see most of you are still there. I only lost 2 people, which is actually fantastic. Deep, not broad. So you want to go deep with your content on your stories, in your emails, whatever you're doing. If you're doing the Zoom strategy, like, go in depth with all your content and don't focus on being too broad and surface level. Get focused on a segment, whether it's geographic or, type of client. You need social media and online platforms. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you don't need it. You need it. If you want your business to thrive, you need it. You need it. If you may not need it right now, because and a lot of us are guilty of that. We wait until we have no leads, and we wait until things start to run thin on the lead front to make an effort. And then we're willing to throw all of our resources in it. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've had people like that. Things are going great and we're so distracted. I have a client here. I have a client here. I have a client here. I have this. I have that. I'm good. Okay. You wait until you're not good anymore. And then you're like, I don't know where my next deal is going to come from. Now I'm not good. Now what do I do? Karen, help. I'm willing to spend so much money and I'm willing to do everything. No, don't wait to get to that point. Start now so you don't get to that point. Okay, put in this effort on a daily basis so you don't get to that point, because what's going to start happening is when you get to a point where you're just like, things are starting to thin out a bit, in your DMs from your stories, you're going to have people that you can start messaging, and something or the other will start materializing. And over time, you will not get to that point. And I promise you that. And start thinking value first. Emails are very important, and be very, very, very open-minded. Okay, I hope lots of you tagged me in your story. Now, I'm going to wrap this up now. I really want to thank you all for staying with me, for being here today, for engaging with me. I offer free 20-minute consults. If you guys want to book yours, go to agentconsulting.ca and you'll be able to speak to me. You can just click on that on desktop, or if you are on mobile, you just click on see how I can help you, and you guys can book your free complimentary strategy call with me. If there's anything, I offer coaching programs and stuff like that. I don't want to pitch right now because that's not what this is about. But if you guys found value in what I did today and you guys have some follow-up questions or want to make it a bigger strategy, I do have other programs that might be of interest to you or not. that's up to you, but you guys can, I'm happy to chat with you, but at the very least, connect with me on social media because I love connecting with my people, and be happy to answer any questions if you guys have now. So I'll stop talking because I'm tired of talking. You guys unmute yourself, ask questions if there's, and give me feedback, guys. Did you enjoy? What's your one takeaway? Give me your one takeaway in the chat before you leave, because I'd love to know what's the most valuable thing that you learned here today. Just one thing that you say, okay, this was good. If I do this and I'm gonna do this, this is gonna help my business. Could be a mindset thing, could be an actionable item. The small pieces, yes. Perfect. More stories, yes, Jeff. I'm gonna actually make sure I start watching your stories, using stories, 100%. Start stories. Yep. Perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect or pretty. It really doesn't. I'm not perfect or anything in most of the things that I do. Perfection is just another way of procrastinating things, and there is no such thing as perfection. It's just do it. Just do it. Don't worry about it. Stories and content, yes. Perfect. Awesome. I love this. You guys are all going to get the recording. And yes. Okay, Margaret, I got your message. No problem. Can you privately send me your email address, please, in this chat so that I have it? What ratio of personal to real estate would you post in stories? Mostly, I'll be honest with you, maybe 20 to 30 personal, but mostly like real estate. But the thing is, when you talk to, traditionally what they say about social media, like 80-20 rule, right? Like, but the thing is, the way in which I'm telling you guys to talk about real estate is not salesy, right? So because it's not salesy, people don't mind. Like, it doesn't come across as cheesy, so you're fine. Brent, do you ever feel like you can oversaturate with overposting? I've unfollowed too many. Yeah, but I don't, not really, because I pay attention to what I'm posting. And one thing I found is I have so many silent followers. There are people, and this is something you guys will start to find too. People will start consuming your content, stories especially. You'll start seeing people follow, watch everything. And if you actually scroll all the way down to the bottom, those are the people that don't follow you and still watch your stories. And boom, out of nowhere, you'll get a message. Or out of nowhere, you'll just get, I get a call scheduled. And I'd be like, who is, like, I don't know who this person is. And then I go back to, and I have a question I ask them is like, how did you hear about me? And then they're like, oh, Instagram. Half the time it's like Instagram, right? Because people who I don't know, but they're following me and they're watching my stuff, but they may not even be engaging with me, but they're just quietly following. And then when they're ready, they hit me up right away. And those are easy. Think about how easy that lead is going to be for me to convert versus something from a Facebook ad, right? Which is why, like, I think the best strategy as far as like marketing, in all honesty, of course, today we're speaking about organic, is a combination of organic and paid, because then when I have leads, then my goal is to drive them to my social media immediately and to my email, because I know it'll be easier for me to convert them. So it's just a way for me to grow my follower base rather than having leads that are straight away going to close, you know. That's how I look at it. But no, I think, Brent, again, to your question, I think if your content is good, people are not going to unfollow you. If your content is engaging, educational, inspiring, really cool, why would I unfollow you? I wouldn't unfollow you unless all you do is brag about yourself and give me stuff that I don't care about. It's just like, I don't care about this, you know? And hey, if people do unfollow you, despite the fact that you're posting quality content, who cares? That's good. We always focus on the people that unsubscribe, unfollow. Why? Let's focus on those who follow, engage, and subscribe. We're so worried about that. Like, I'm not worried about losing anybody, because I know that that person probably wasn't the right fit for me anyway. So I don't worry about it. You just do your thing, honestly, do your thing. But again, this won't work if you are obsessed with the outcome and if you post with the intention of, this is going to sound a little bit esoteric, and I know this is, I'm just going to say it anyway, but if you post with the intention, if you start posting content with the intention of just closing, you're not going to see the same results as if you just post because, hey, this is really cool, this is valuable, people are going to find this interesting, they're going to learn from this, and I'm just going to talk about it. That intention will make a big difference. And that's the biggest lack. I think it was Seth Godin I heard speak once at a private mastermind. And if you guys don't know who he is, he's this big author, marketing guru. And he said when he started his podcast, he just turned into a teacher's role. He just said, I'm a teacher. I'm going to post. I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to do this every week. And I don't care if 2 people are watching or 20 people are watching. If 1 person gets something out of it or if 100 people get something out of it. And he just did that and did that and did that. And the intention was just like, I'm just going to keep doing this. And I know people who do videos like that. I do YouTubers who are millionaires who talk about this, where they just make a commitment to post a video a day and they just do it. They just do value. They just post valuable stuff every single day and they start to get business from it. Somebody's unmuted themselves. Is this because you want to ask a question or is this an accident? All right, perfect. You guys, honestly, if you guys want to ask me questions, feel free to unmute yourselves now because my website's been there long enough. So I hope some of you book calls with me so I can chat with you guys. If you don't want to, that's fine also. I will send a recording and 3 free templates to everybody who attended and to everybody who tagged me in a story and who took the bribe that I gave. You guys will get 5. All right. So I'm going to stop the share at this point. You guys thank you once again, wonderful audience. I really hope you guys enjoyed the session. If you want to leave me a little sentence before you leave in the chat what you thought of the session, that would be great. Otherwise, you know, I love feedback because that's how I make my sessions better, right? That's how I improve what I do as well. And I really, really hope that you guys implement what you learned today and have a wonderful, wonderful day and an amazing, amazing rest of your week. It's afternoon for me. It's 4:30 where I am. I'm in the UK once again. I'm just going to wait for like at least half of you to be gone. You guys don't want to leave me. I mean, we can talk more if you want. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you guys. I appreciate the overwhelmingly positive feedback. Thank you guys. You're awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, John. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, guys. Perfect. All right. I am going to go ahead and end the session. Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, you guys are wonderful. All right. Brilliant. Thank you, Susan. All right. Much, much appreciated. Thank you for your time today. Take care, guys. Bye.